want you to imagine for a second how different your life would look right now if you had hit all your goals. If you'd made that money, dropped that weight, met that girl, and bought that house. Now, instead of just imagining it, I want you to believe that it's actually real. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to brainwash yourself to make millions. How do I know it works? Well, it's exactly what I use to go from working out of a rented bedroom, struggling to make rent, to making hundreds of millions of dollars. But more on that later in the video. It all starts with something that I call 4D dream hacking. Now, the most common mistake that I see people make is when I ask them, what does your dream life look like? They always typically give you some half-baked answer. They'll say something like, hey, I don't really need a lot, or I just want to be comfortable. If you say, hey, yeah, I want to be rich, how rich? How much money do you want to have in cash? How much do you want to have in real estate? You need a very clear and visceral plan in order to turn your dreams into reality. When you think about a dream life, the biggest challenge is that it's really overwhelming to try and tackle what that looks like. So instead, what I have found that is a lot more manageable and a lot more attainable is thinking about what the dream day looks like. Starting off with, what time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? How do you spend and structure your day? If you don't have a crystal clear goal and an outcome of where you're trying to go, then you are guaranteed that you are not going to hit it. What time do you start work? What projects are you working on? How do you prioritize them? And who is the team that you're actually going to be working with every day to turn these projects into a reality? It wasn't until I really started to flesh out what it is that I was going for did things start to really happen for me. Have you ever met a successful person in whatever field it is that they choose, and you're like, hey, how did you get this success? How did you achieve this goal? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I kind of just stumbled into it. Like, I didn't really have a plan. The people that I have met that are really successful in whatever their chosen field is, they had a very detailed plan of exactly how to get there. It's now time for step number 2, which is to extend your time horizons. Society is plagued with a disease that is instant gratification. What you want to do is dream in years, set goals in quarters, plan in months, evaluate in weeks, and execute violently daily. All success is linked to your ability to delay gratification. When I first started King Kong, I was like, dude, you just gotta sit down and you've gotta put the blinders on and you've gotta go underwater. Do not come up for air for 3 years before you can kind of poke your head out and go, oh, where am I and what is it that I've achieved? And the first person that I had to sell was myself. In the beginning, there is no balance. It is all war. You're going in it intensely for very long periods of time before you see any success. And that is the fire that you must cross in order to make your dreams a reality. And that's the fire that burns most people. And they're like, hey, this is too difficult. Let me deviate from this and let me go and do something that's a lot easier. And this is the exact same advice that I'd give to anybody that is just starting out. But there's a problem that you'll run into if you stop here, which brings us to step number 3 in brainwashing yourself to make millions. And that is in making your why so big that the how becomes easy. Even if you have a very clear vision of exactly where it is that you want to go and you extend your time horizons on what it's going to take to actually get there, it's still hard as shit. And there's going to be many, many days that you feel like quitting. What I have found is the best way to really get clear on your why is to not think about you, to not be selfish about what it is that you need to really satiate your immediate demands, but think about all of the people that rely on you, all the things that could possibly happen in your life, if it's a friend or a family member that's gonna come to you and they're gonna need help. Even if that is your why and you're thinking about, hey, I would love to retire my parents or retire my spouse or to pay off my sister or my brother's mortgage, that is still only really using the carrot to drive yourself. When I have found that is you need the carrot and you need the stick as well. So you need to think about all the things that it is that you want and all the people that you want to be able to help. But then you also need to be thinking about what is it that you would need to say no to? What creates that pain inside yourself to not be able to realize all of these things that you're chasing? And it's really the intersection of all the things that it is that you want and the goals and the lifestyle that you're trying to create for the people who rely on you or yourself, and also all the things that you don't want to happen happen. And it's where those two meet that sets your soul on fire. Which brings us to step number 4, which is leveling up your character. Is your current version of yourself was capable of going out and making all of these dreams and turning them into a reality, then you would have already done it. And the reason is the current version of yourself isn't capable of making those dreams a reality, because getting stuck in what you're currently doing and the current limitations of your behavior, your attitudes, your beliefs, and everything that it is that you're looking at are the very constraints that are gonna hold you back from making this a reality. So you need to think about the character and the traits that you have as an individual and think, what are the types of traits that I would need to have in order to make these dreams a reality? What would that person look like? How focused would they be? What would they be working on? What is the standards that they would demand of themselves? And how is that different to what I'm doing right now and the lifestyle that I'm living? You need to be acting as if right now, as you are that person. Which brings us to step number 5, which is to manage your energy and not time. One of the deadliest pitfalls that I see around productivity that people fall into is that they think that all time is created equal. If you look on YouTube or Instagram, you are inundated with people talking about hustle porn and just grinding until you know there's blood dripping out of your eyes. There are gonna be periods of time in your days, your weeks, your months, your quarters, and years that you are gonna be sprinting. But an hour in the morning is not equivalent to an hour in the evening. It is completely unsustainable to think that you could just get up and work 12 hours a day and it's gonna be the same level of output. Because human beings aren't some type of supercomputers where you're just built to just run at really high capacities for long periods of time. The big thing that you need to get your head around is really looking at the tasks that you've got to do and thinking about how are you gonna break up your day and your week that you can play this game for long periods of time without burning out. Because the reality of entrepreneurship is that this is a long distance run. It is a long game. Most people see most of their success in the latter years of their life, and it's because all the skills and all the knowledge that you acquire, it compounds over time. So if you were to look at your week, if you were to look at your month, you need to be batching tasks that are gonna be the most time intensive and taking up the most mental RAM and dedicating that for whatever that period of time is for you. For me, it's the morning block. I like to get up 5 a.m., getting more done in the first 6 to 7 hours of the day than most people do in a week, where that I can get to a lot of the shallow work in the latter part of my day. And this brings us to step number 6, which is the final point, to kill the little bitch inside. Even after you've done all of this brainwashing to make your dreams a reality, there is always gonna be this little nagging voice in your mind that I call the little bitch. That little bitch is always trying to pull at your heels and tell you to do things that aren't conducive or supporting you in turning your dreams into reality. Once you get some success, it's gonna turn into this little broke dude that lives in your head and then tries to hold you back. It's gonna tell you, hey, you don't need to spend this money and invest in yourself. You shouldn't be hiring this cleaner. You shouldn't be paying for this convenience. You shouldn't be hiring this person. That is unreasonable. That's expensive. That's a waste of money. That is what rich people do. Yeah, no shit. And that's what it is that we're trying to do, is trying to get rich. And you can't let that broke person try and hold you back to that broke individual that you're trying to move away from and the person that you're trying to become. And those are the 6 steps that you're gonna need to do in order to brainwash yourself to make millions. See you in the next video.